astronauts, this is Brandy and welcome back to Astro-Tarot Research. This week's reading is there's good news coming your way. Isn't that so fortunate? We are going to get into what are the positive blessings coming your way. We have 5 piles to choose from. I do want to remind you to like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to vote on the polls, and don't forget to join me for the live sessions if you want your questions answered. We can expand on this reading. We can expand on any other questions, and just join. Come on in, and you are all welcome and invited. Now let us jump into these piles. We have pile number 1, pile number 2, pile number 3, pile number 4, and pile number 5. So let's not waste any more time and just sit back, relax, and choose. Hey, pile number 1, let's get started on the good news coming your way. We have the 5 of Swords. We have the 10 of Wands. You guys have been going through it, huh? We have the Queen of Pentacles. We have Justice. And we have Venus and Neptune. Wow. All right. So pile number 1, it looks like that you may have been dealing with a possible stressful environment. 5 of Swords is definitely going to put you around some people who just aren't supportive, who have their own agendas, who may be doing things that are like behind your back. But either way, it's just not the best place for you to be in. And maybe even for some of you, maybe 10% of you, this can represent some self-sabotaging behavior, because the 5 of Swords can sometimes shoot themselves in the foot when this card appears. But overall, what we have here is just a lot of purposeful misunderstanding, people probably reacting in overly aggressive ways. It's just poor communication, a lot of blame game, a lot of just things that just really aren't good. And just a lot of strife here, a lot of fighting, a lot of disagreement, a lot of discord. It's a very uncomfortable card. So the good news coming your way is more than likely this situation is coming to an end, okay? There's a transformation coming. There's a change coming. There's a shift coming, okay? There's no more of these tense moments, no more of this sense of disagreement, no more of these going behind each other's backs. We have you moving on to someplace different, moving on to someplace better, and basically getting out of this cycle of stress and toxicity, to be honest. Maybe even you felt a little bit defeated, or you felt like your wins weren't even being celebrated. Sometimes we can get the 5 of Swords to represent that, where you've been working hard and then you have people around you undermining your achievements, like, oh, it wasn't that hard, oh, this only happened because of this, and you really weren't that great at that. It's just like a sense of unnecessary humbling, which isn't deserved. You know, if you worked hard for the things that you have achieved, you deserve to be celebrated for it. But with this 5 of Swords here, that has not been happening. And so you're moving away from that. You're also moving away from all of this feelings of being overburdened, and that can be by a lot of things. The 10 of Wands can represent anything from being like feeling restricted and strained from your finances, feeling stressed out and overwhelmed by your responsibilities, whether that's your responsibilities at home, and maybe you're a dad, you're maybe a mom, you're like, oh my gosh, it's so stressful having to balance work and taking care of my kids. And you know, maybe you're like me and you're a student, you're working, you're like, oh man, this is a lot of responsibilities, a lot of things, a lot of my brain feeling overworked, and it's just a lot to take on, and that is ending too. There's more peace coming your way. There is more pleasant times. There's more times to take care of yourself, especially with the Queen of Pentacles. If we have this to represent good times coming your way, then we know that you're having this moment in which you can finally do the things that you enjoy, that make yourself feel good about you. You're able to take care of yourself. There's no more stress. when the Ten of Wands is taking care of this thing and that thing and jumping all over the place, do you think they care what they look like? Do you think they care if they look pretty today, like, or handsome, or whatever the case may be? No, they have work to do. Their hair's all over the place. Their outfits are coming undone. Their shoelaces are untied. They are an absolute mess right now, and they don't have any relief. They don't have anybody to help them out. They have to carry the brunt of all the burden. There's this weight on their back, okay? Carrying the whole world on their shoulders, and that has been you for a while. But now you're stepping into a place where that is ending. That is coming to a close. There's no more of this feeling overburdened and overworked. There's no more feeling like a lack of support. There's no more feeling like you have to deal with all of these conflicts and struggles and stressors all the time. There's no more shooting yourself in the foot if you do that and you find yourself tripping over the same sort of habits or bad patterns that you fall into. You're moving on to a better place. You're moving on to a place where you can nurture yourself and you have other people who can nurture you. You're feeling like stable. You're feeling like you can provide for yourself. You're feeling like you have all the time in the world to enact any initiatives that you have been thinking about, whether that's some, you know, normal everyday initiative like going to the movies. You're like, oh my gosh, I finally get some free time and I can go watch a movie and relax, or I can finally go take that vacation I've been looking for, or I finally have a sense of financial stability and then I can buy a house or get a new condo or a new apartment. Whatever the case may be, the Queen of Pentacles loves being able to upgrade. She loves being able to transform her lifestyle. She loves being able to experience finer things. She loves taking care of herself. She loves taking care of others. Look how laid back and luxurious this cat is. They have flowers. They have a pillow. Their pinnacle has a pillow. They have their own little blanket. They're cozied up. They have a big pile of jewels in front of them. So more than likely, there is going to be some sort of financial relief if you have been concerned or worried about that. There is going to be this moment in which you are finally feeling like you're the one being catered to rather than having to cater to others. Because look, on this card, we have this little rabbit here, like offering up some sort of thing to the queen here, or maybe they're just making some commentary or complimenting her or whatever the case may be. But there's somebody there to assist you. There are people being open. They're providing you with resources. Pentacles are really much grounded in the tangible things. That's why we have this queen laid up here, stretched out on this blanket. She's comfortable. She has a nice bed. She has a nice quilt. So this can even be an upgrade in the terms of the things that you own as well, from property to just even small things like, oh, let me get a new fridge, or, you know, let me buy myself a new jewelry case, let me buy myself new jewelry, period. Whatever the case may be, let me upgrade to nicer materials. I don't want to wear synthetic. I'm going to go for cotton or a blend of silk and wool or something along the lines of that. It's just an upgrade in your environment and it feels nice. This would also represent some health benefits as well. The Ten of Wands is a very much stressful card, and we know stress can have very damaging effects on people. And so when we have this Queen of Pentacles, we know that you're releasing stress, you're releasing burdens, you're finally seeing your hard work pay off, because in order to get to the Queen of Wands, we got to get to that Nine of Pentacles who's walking through her garden and everything's luxurious and wonderful. And then we get to the Ten of Pentacles where we have this beautiful home and environment and community and so on and so forth. And the Queen of Pentacles has all of that and more. She has an entire kingdom. So we see that there's an expansion when it comes to the material gains. There's expansion when it comes to maybe even your career or job situation, or like I said, even upgrades to various different material things in your world, including your physical self, because that is what the Pentacles represent. That physical body represents things you eat, represents things you put in your body, represents your health, represents your overlong goals and plans and things along the lines of that. So we see those things actualizing and taking place. And as I mentioned before, we have this theme of balance here too. there's more balance coming into your life. There's too much stress and work going on. It's like constant work. Something's always popping up. It's like whack-a-mole. You take care of one thing and one thing is popping up for you. And it's like it's never ending. Finally, we're moving out of that and we're going to a place where things feel balanced, where it feels like, oh wow, what the work that I put into is what I am getting out. This has been worth the effort. Justice is all about receiving some sort of fair trade. So let's say you were in a situation where even if it's like a relationship and you're giving and they're just taking, and you constantly find yourself in these relationships where you're giving, and the person just takes. Now we're getting to a place where it's more balanced, where you give, you take, they take. It's equal footing here. And this can apply to areas like jobs as well, or even non-romantic relationships, platonic relationships, friendships, whatever the case may be. They put in the effort, you put in the effort. It's equal here. Justice is all about balance and equality. This comes to a place where it can do with payment. Like let's say if you feel like you're being underpaid or underworked or undervalued, now you're being valued. Now you're being acknowledged. Now you're receiving your accolades and you're receiving just pay and things along the lines of that. It's like your hard work and efforts are finally paying off. I know we say that a lot in the tarot communities, but I don't know how else to read this other than that happening. There is more balance coming your way. It's going to happen. Okay. Now I have done sort of blessings readings before, and in terms of timelines, it's usually like about a year for these things to occur. That is what I have just noticed, just based on my patterns and how things work out for me for a reader. Unless I give a specific time period, then generally the cards are reflecting over like the next 12 months where this is starting to play out. So this is not forever in a day, pal number one. This is like over the next 12 months, these things are going to start to take place. And generally it's little by little that it starts to get to the point where now you're receiving more balance. Now things seem to be more fair. Now there's more communication. Five of Swords is all about terrible communication. Oh man, this is all the blame game. This is all contentment. This is all stonewalling. This is a lot of criticism. You know, it just doesn't make sense. It's things that tears apart relationships rather than build them up. Whereas Justice, Libra, wants to bring people together, wants to build connections, wants partnerships, wants union, wants fairness. And so that's happening now. So the communication when it comes to who you're interacting with is more peaceful. Everyone's trying to reach the same goal, and they're doing it in a way that is understanding, accepting, not criticizing personal behaviors, not undermining people's work. It's very much just a better environment here. And especially if you're somebody who has a business or is visible when it comes to a social media presence, or even if non-social media, just media in general, whatever it is. But this is a really great card for having success in those areas if that is of interest to you, or even when it comes to partnerships. Justice there very much relates to commitments and things along the lines of that. So let's say you have been attracting people who have been very non-committal, then that is going to shift and things are going to start to be a little bit more of what you're looking for, long-term commitment. It is about coming together in a way that is looking at the bigger picture, wanting to create a true union. That is what this Justice card is about. Partnership, fairness, one-on-one relationships, contracts. These things are going smoother. These things are more balanced. These things are more fair. Now, when we have Venus and Neptune, what a beautiful placement. And that is bringing me into like the upgrade when it comes to even like your appearance, not to just focus on something that might be been superficial, but I think everyone to some degree cares about what they look like. I think most people want to be the best version of themselves in a way. Maybe not everyone, but most people do. And Venus and Neptune is a great combination for that. If you've seen my Neptune beauty study, then you know that Neptune is a great planet associated with beauty, and obviously Venus is as well. We know that. If you've seen my Black Beauty study, the Venusian placements did extremely well in the moon rule placements and in sun rule placements, and Venus in the first house also connects to beauty. And as I mentioned before with my Neptune study, I looked at Neptune conjunct the first house, the moon, and the sun. It brings a lot of attractiveness to an individual. Doesn't necessarily always have to be physical beauty though, but I was focusing more on beauty for that study, but it does bring a sense of magnetism to them. So we do see that you are upgrading your appearance. You might be making some transformations when it comes to your diet or lifestyle. That is more than likely happen, and it could be through the influences of other people as well. Maybe you start to mirror the habits of others. Maybe other people are more encouraging. The Justice card connects to Libra, which connects to the 7th house. And I can tell you about a time where I had major transits to my 7th house, where I worked with a personal trainer, and that's probably the most muscle I have ever had. Okay, I thought I looked pretty good. I did manage to lose some body fat. Now I needed to change my diet. Not that it was terrible, but I was eating a little too much, or I just wasn't eating correctly. I think I was eating too many carbs. I'm going off on a tangent. Anyway, more about you. It's just saying that you are making some corrections in those areas to sort of amplify your beauty. When Venus and Neptune come together, it creates beauty, it creates magic, it creates something. And it doesn't necessarily have to be you being the creation and the creator, but it can be one of the other, where you can create something beautiful, which can be, something along the lines of some sort of creative work, some hobby, some project that you have been working on comes together to create something mystical and magical. But anyway, regardless of what it is, it's something that stands out. It's something that is very, 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 very beautiful. It's unusual. It's something that a lot of people will look at in awe. Okay, it's like this sort of Grand Canyon type of feel, but it does create a beauty or something that is interesting to look at, or is a beautiful sound if you're a musician, something along the lines of that. When I see Neptune and Venus come together, and actually Neptune and Venus are going to be in the same sign a lot this year. I don't know when this reading will be out, but currently in the sky, at least in Vedic astrology, they are in the same sign, I believe. Neptune is in Vedic Pisces, Venus is in Vedic Pisces, and they are both, you know, when they're in the same sign, they are conjunct. And so this brings about a lot of desire towards wanting to have ambitions towards like enjoyment, because Venus represents things that make us happy and brings us a lot of joy. And when Venus and Neptune come together, it's just like this big dream, this big wish to have a lot of fun, or big desires for wish fulfillment and happiness and pleasure and enjoyment. Like the focus becomes on that a little bit. And so let me use my words. It's wanting to have more time to relax, all right? To point blank period say that have more time to relax, have more time to have fun, have more enjoyment in your life, have more fulfillment in your life, have more things coming true about getting your desires met. It's like these wishes coming true in regards to even love and connection as well. But it definitely brings the energy a little bit more down. It's a little bit more calm. There is not this much stressor on having to get your responsibilities done. So I do want to emphasize that. And sorry for any noise in the background, pal number one. It is always loud in this house. It's about wanting to just bring more happiness and fun and fulfillment into your life. And I believe in Vedic, Venus will be with Neptune for quite a while. So like I said, Not sure when this reading will come up, so it may even still be there. So look in your chart to see where Venus and Neptune is coming together and see exactly what you have been doing in that part of your life since it has, I think, gone in there towards the end of January this year. And see what changes you have made in that area, positive changes, because this is all about the good news coming your way. And there's more of that to come. You know, it's just, if we're speaking in that general sense, it's more time focusing on having higher self-esteem, looking at areas in which you may have been doubting yourself, looking at areas which you have maybe neglected some certain passions and wanting to revive them in a way, or even go after certain passions and break free and not be bounded by some sort of society expectation timeline. And if you feel like your responsibilities have been holding you back from having the life that you enjoy, this is like saying, I'm no longer going to let those responsibilities control me. I got one life to live and I'm going to go for it. You have to remember, Neptune is very free spirit. It does what it wants to do. It transforms. It doesn't even believe in doing all that hard work. Like, you know, so that is what's going to be happening. More of that, more enjoyment, more pleasure, more excitement, more allowing yourself to dream, and more having of those dreams come true. Really wonderful dreams when it comes to love, connection, happiness. Venus is all about happiness, relaxation, taking care of yourself, enjoying the nicer, finer, beautiful things in life. So that is what I have for you, pal number one. Hopefully this resonates. If not, feel free to choose a new pal, maybe a new reader. Either way, I'm very happy you stopped by. Don't forget to drop by the live sessions, and I can't wait to see you next time. Au revoir. Hey, pal number two. Let's get into some good news coming your way. We have the Emperor, the Knight of Wands, the Devil. Excuse me. We have the Seven of Cups and Venus and Pluto. Ooh. All right. So, pal number two, when it comes to good news coming your way, we know that you are bossing up with the Emperor here. He is on his throne. He is powerful. He's in control, and he is planning towards the future, and he is making critical moves that will be beneficial to him in the long run. And not only that, but he also has a lot of great things going for him at the moment. I mean, he's the Emperor here. How much better can it get? So when we're talking about good news coming for you, it seems to me like there is a lot of initiatives that you are putting forth that are actually coming to fruition, that are actually happening. These are things that you have been working hard towards, because the Emperor works hard. The Emperor is someone who is smart, someone who is strategic, someone who understands what they want and goes after it. So 100% this can represent having a strong position of leadership, or even just a strong position in a job or a career, whether that's like, oh, I've been promoted to manager, or, woo, I've been promoted to senior director, whatever the case may be. It also represents having a lot of confidence. So there's good news if you have been feeling a little bit less confident lately, if you haven't been feeling too great about yourself. The Emperor is all about confidence. He's all about believing in himself. He understands that whatever he wants to accomplish, he can do 100%. This is establishing a solid foundation, because the Emperor connects to fours. So wherever it is in your life, if you feel a little bit unstable, if you feel like things are a little bit rocky right now, they aren't going in the direction you want to go, or it just feels a little bit uncertain, stability is coming your way, security is coming your way. You are going to be in such a great, stable place, okay? Do not worry your little head, all right? We also have the Knight of Wands. and the Devil card here. So these cards are very interesting because the Devil, when I think of something that is like good, that is coming your way, to me, it sort of represents one, either breaking free of some sort of habit or boundary or restriction that has been holding you back. Maybe you feel like you have been bound by the desires of your family or friends, and they're always questioning what you have to do and where you're going and who you're with and da-da-da, right? Like it's just a lot of stress from those areas, or them wanting you to conform to a certain way of thinking based off of their cultures or own beliefs. They kind of push those things onto you. But then on the other hand, sometimes when we get the Knight of Wands and the Devil combination, this represents having a little bit of a thrill, okay? It's just more so like, oh, there's more excitement here. Oh, I'm going to go bungee jumping. I'm going to go skydiving. I just had a dream about skydiving. I don't even know what that was about. But just something that involves like this impulsive action that just involves a lot of fun. Like a lot of... Ooh. I'm guessing that was my alarm, guys. What was that? I guess that's a big okay from the cards that yes, this is a lot of action. This is a lot of fun. This is a lot of thrill and excitement coming your way. It's supposed to be like being able to enjoy life, being able to seek pleasure, being able to have your ambitions be actualized and come into fruition, because the Devil card is an ambitious card. It is connected to a Capricorn. It's at the top of the chart. It represents power, authority, goals, achievement, things along the lines of that. The Devil card's not always bad here, okay? Sometimes it's just representing those one-track minded goals. So I see a lot of achievement of certain goals, maybe even really big goals here, especially with the Emperor card and the Knight of Wands. All right. And also, if you have been in a period of stagnation with the Knight of Wands and the Devil, that would be breaking out of that period, taking some bold actions towards anything that you find passionate, whether that is a relationship, whether that is a connection, whether that is you setting your sights on some new adventure, especially when we have this Seven of Cups here, because the Seven of Cups is always about dreaming of the possibilities, dreaming of what is out there, looking at all the options in front of you. I always get the Seven of Wands representing having a bountiful of options. And ooh, this just makes me think of something. If you have felt like you have been confined or limited in your choices in some way, doesn't matter what area of life, it just feels like there may be some limitations in your choices. For example, like let's say you have a certain budget, but you're looking to buy like a house or a condo or something like that, but you're limited by that budget, and the house that you really want is outside of your budget. Maybe, quite possibly, this is a boost in finances, especially since we have Venus and Pluto here, that will allow for you to actually get the house, get the condo that you want. So it's like breaking free of those limitations. In the example I just gave, that would be material limitations, right? But there's so many different limitations. Your options are opening up, so you're no longer rebounded by that. If you feel limited by your environment, if you feel like you aren't provided the same amount of choices when it comes to dating or healthcare or whatever the case like may be, food. There's so many ways that we can feel limited. If you feel limited in your time, like if you're just like, geez, I don't have any time for this or that thing, this is a freeing of that. This is more time for pleasure, more time to do things that are exciting, more times to let go of fears and insecurities. For some of you, if you have been holding yourself back, not saying you're all holding yourselves back, because we do in the tarot community try to look inward. So sometimes the messaging can always be, so change yourself, change yourself, change yourself. Sometimes it's not yourself. You can't change, just because you change yourself doesn't mean you change the world, right? So especially when we get the Devil card here. Yes, there are those self-limiting beliefs, though there are those negative thought patterns. There's those actual physical things that we do that might actually harm ourselves, whether that is consuming things that are bad for us or being a part of relationships that aren't good for us. Yes, those are all things that are not good that we can sort of control. But things along the lines of external boundaries, we should focus on that as well. Sometimes you are bound by your circumstances, and that is what it is, right? You can't control the family you were born into. You can't always control the education you get, and you can't always control the cars that you were drawn in this life. Well, this is you being able to break free of those limitations that you may have even been born into. Like if you were born into poverty, this is like giving you an opportunity to rise and move out of that, especially when we have this Venus and Pluto here, okay? Venus and Pluto is really great. I really like this energy here. When I see Venus and Pluto coming together, generally, it can represent some independence in some way of trying new things for yourself and feeling like it's almost like a boost in confidence. Like Pluto might put you in a circumstance that is new to you, a little mysterious, the way that Pluto is. And it's a circumstance in which you're going to have to figure out for yourself. Maybe you have a little help, you know, maybe you get some assistance from someone, but it's like you independently problem solving. You're not having someone step by step walk you through it. And because you problem solve on your own, you get this little boost of confidence here. And that could be something that's really good that is coming your way, okay? Just keep that in mind when you see these two things coming together. We also see with this Pluto and Venus energy coming together is a great boost when it comes to happiness. That's why I was focusing a lot on the pleasure. We have like 3 cards here representing like emotional satisfaction, pleasure, enjoyment, things that just make you laugh, that make you relax, that make you feel good. Venus and Pluto connects to that. The 7 of Cups connects to that. The Devil connects to that. And maybe even to some degree, the Knight of Wands can connect to that as well. These are all cards of just like, ooh, I've gotten something I want. I'm having a little fun. Like I'm enjoying myself. Okay. Remember one day, and this is totally random, but it kind of gives you an example of that Venus and Pluto energy where I had like my Venus transit sextile my natal Pluto. And on that day, I got a little gift card, right? Like I had bought something and then I got another gift card for that. And I was like, ooh, that never happens. Stores can give you gift cards and stuff, but it never happens to me, okay? So I got a gift card and I was like, oh, I'm going to buy something I really like with it. So it's almost like you get some extra money coming in. I think that's happened at least 2 or 3 times for me with Venus and Pluto aspects. Some extra money you weren't expecting, which will allow you to have this boost of freedom. So that's more than likely possible. And if it's not a boost in money, then it's a boost in opportunity to enjoy yourself. Things are coming your way. Things are moving in your direction. Okay, I just want you to know that, all right? Also, this can represent like reimbursements. This can represent things having to do with love from other people. Sometimes when we get this Pluto-Venus energy coming through, it's almost like you are being, what's the word? You're valuable to others because Pluto connects to Scorpio, the 8th house, other people's values. And Venus being there is like the love of other people, what other people love, what other people find fulfilling, what other people find satisfactory, what other people are desiring. I am basing my love on the love of what other people like. It's kind of a feel for like, I want to try this thing because other people are trying this thing, which can happen with Venus, with people who have Venus and Scorpio a lot, where they look a lot for validation through other people. Not all the time, but that is very common. And what happens here when we have this just, when it's representing something that is good news for you, is almost like you're being celebrated by others. You're being appreciated by others. You're being valued by others. So if you put some sort of creative work out there, there is going to be a chance that it is going to feel like an increase in enjoyment, like from other people. Other people are, you know, giving you that applause, okay? That is what this energy is like when these two planets meet and come together. So I want you to know that. This can also bring about like just pleasure when it comes through like things that you put into your body and eat, like I mentioned before. So what I mean by this, if you're somebody who is used to following like a strict diet, this is like, oh, I'm finally getting a little break and I'm gonna have like a cheat meal or a cheat day or something like that. But it's not gonna be a detrimental effect, okay? You're not gonna wild out and go too crazy. But it does represent being able to just release, okay? There's a little bit of a release here. If you felt like you have been bound so tightly to one thing, you've been working hard in one area, it feels like that is getting that ease, that's getting that release, that's getting a little bit of a moment where, hey, can we just pause? Can we just have a moment to relax? Can we just have a moment to enjoy? That is what this energy is happening here. There's more moments to enjoy. There's more fulfillment. There's more opportunities for money, or even just, like I said, some sort of reimbursement, supplemental income, somebody offering you something, whatever the case may be. But there is that as well, okay? I want you to say that. Sometimes Venus connects to enjoying the simple things in a very intense manner. So if you've had a very, very stressful time period right now, this is like, oh, I'm offering you a chance for simplicity. A moment of relief is coming. Now, for me, when I get the Seven of Cups, I just generally get it to represent, like I said, having a lot of choices. And they're generally good choices to choose from. Okay, it's usually something having to do with things that you find to be totally dreamy, totally magnetic, totally fun, like multiple job offers, multiple chances to increase finances, multiple romantic options for sure, especially with the Seven of Wands, the Devil, and the Knight of Wands. Actually, that was my first interpretation. I don't even know why I didn't mention that. The first thing I thought of when I saw these cards was that this represents like having a lot more romantic options who are desirable to you. Because for me, the definition of options is people that like you and you like them, right? So there is more of that coming in terms of actual desire that you might feel for someone. This can also representing just choosing, having more empowerment, like having more choices available to you. It's almost like, you know how the job market right now, it's like an employer's market, right? So employees kind of have to market themselves to employers a lot more. That's what's going on here. And when you're doing that, it's like you're doing that because you don't have that many options. You're doing it because you don't have that many choices. But here with the Seven of Cups, that's like that flip around. That's like that turnaround where it's like, actually, it's an employer's market and you have more people trying to recruit you, come after you, vie for your attention, things along the lines of that. And that doesn't have to just be in career. Like I said, that can be in romantically, that can be in business as well. You know, if you're like some sort of content creator, this might be brand seeking you out or something like that, or even having different audience members seeking you out and things along the lines of that. This can also represent sort of like gaining some sense of clarity about what dreams that you want to accomplish and things that you want that will break through, things that will be breaking through. And it's really just like having this aha moment. I know what I want to do. I know what I want to go after. I know what I aspire to, what direction I aspire to go in to bring me a sense of fulfillment. Okay? But generally, like I said, Venus and Pluto for me, like if I'm looking back on the days in which I've had these aspects, there's some sort of financial relief going on there where I might be getting something for free, where I might be getting someone to pay for something, where somebody might send me money, or somebody might do something else for me. There is generally some sort of like financial relief, or there's generally moments that just feel like, oh great, I can put my feet up and actually relax and do some things that I want to do, and I'm not burdened by all responsibilities and things on the lines of that. And I've seen that. And this, like I said before, this also represents magnetic attraction and things coming in like that. So if you felt like, oh, things have been so empty, things have been so dry in my love life, this is things coming speeding up. This is things like saying, ooh, I'm finally getting some people that I'm interested in, that pique my curiosity, people I want to get to know, and things along the lines of that. It's also being able to focus on the things that you find enjoyment and fulfillment in. And like I said, that's coming with that recognition. That's coming with that happiness. That's coming with that sense of pleasure and enjoyment and fulfillment. That is all happening here. And really, there's some good things when it comes to like managing the wealth, managing those aspects for you. I want you to keep that in mind. But I really do feel like this is just a time for good times. Their good news is that you're about to have some really good times coming up, some really exciting times, some really thrill-seeking times that get your dopamine transmitter levels, whatever, up, and they are buzzing about, and it just feels exciting. There's a sense of like adrenaline rush. There's a sense of like, I'm accomplishing my goals, and I finally got this thing that I've been striving towards. And it's interesting, I'll say this last thing. We have the Emperor here and the Devil, and so that's like Mars in the 10th house, and we have Mars in the 10th house. It's like, I am ambitious towards following my goals, and since this is good news coming your way, it's more so like I'm achieving my goals. I'm getting things done, like I'm accomplishing them, and it's going a lot faster and a lot smoother than I thought it would. There's a lot less barriers in my way or stopping me. Not saying that there's zero, but there's significantly less, and that you'll have to deal with. And it's feeling like, ooh, I accomplished this thing, I accomplished that thing, and this thing was done. There's a sense of knocking things off of that checklist that maybe you have wanted to get done for a long time, and it's finally happening for you, pal number 2. Other things can represent, like I said, getting a better position if you at work, finding some sort of committed relationship in a way. I will say the Emperor card is very committed, but the other cards, not as much. Venus and Pluto's committed. So these cards, they're committed. So it's more like, maybe it's like you're presented options that you could be committed to. Options that you want, options that seem desirable to you, options that feel like this is something that has potential here to go far. So that can be happening for you. But anyway, I'm going to end it here, pile number 2. Hopefully this resonates. Sorry for any noise in the background. It's noisy here in this house. And if you would like to ask me a question, just join the lives. And also, I love to pull my astronauts. Not sure if they're up right now. I'm trying to catch up on readings, so I don't know when they'll be back up. But check out the community tab, because they might be up by the time this video is posted. And that is all I have for you. And I'll see you next time. Au revoir. Hey, pal number 3, let's get into the good news headed your way. We have the Star, talk about peace and serenity. The 2 of Pentacles, the Knight of Pentacles, the 3 of Cups, and Mercury and Mars coming here. You know what I love about this Knight of Pentacles card is the Knight of Pentacles is so studious and so hardworking. And they are always trying to learn different things and go off in different areas, but sometimes they don't know exactly everything they want, or they don't have a clear, defined goal. So they're very much like exploring and gaining knowledge, practical knowledge, but it's not necessarily always ready to be applied just yet. So the good news is heading your way is that you are learning, you're developing and growing. And even if you can't utilize the things that you are learning today or are about to learn pretty soon, for readings like this, I like to give a time period of over 12 months for things to start happening. But even though the things that you are learning over these 12 months may not be applicable right away, they will be beneficial in the long run, guaranteed. I've definitely gotten the Knight of Pentacles to represent just gaining some information, and then like 2 or 3 years later, it becomes relevant to my reality. And I'm like, oh wait, I remember when I did that. And it's actually just a very amazing and beneficial card. It connects to not just practical knowledge, but even things that have to do with decision making as well. You have to keep in mind the earth signs connect to Taurus, Capricorn, and Virgo, and all of those sign placements have to do with the decisions that we make in our day-to-day life. That's when we talk about this Venus retrograde, which is happening right now at the time that I'm filming. It's all about reevaluating decisions and making new decisions. So just wanted to throw that out there. So what's happening your way is that you are creating some foundational knowledge that will help you to make better decisions in the future. And that is good news for sure. I think being able to have practical advice, some sort of strong baseline for what direction you can go in, or any sort of like advice or knowledge is always good, right? Especially if this is beneficial knowledge coming in. It doesn't sound like, oh, this is fun and exciting, but it is something that will create a lot more stability and make your life a lot easier in the long run. Simply practical everyday knowledge. Like there's this interesting side of TikTok that talks about people sort of make fun of all like the silly things that we just didn't recognize, like how to put your dishes in the dishwasher the right way. It's like a small thing, no one kind of talks about it, but there is a particular way to do it so that your dishes can be cleaned more effectively. So rather than running the dishwasher twice, you run it once, and you end up saving yourself more money in the long run. So small things like that, this can apply to even bigger things. But we did start off with this Star card, and my immediate thought was like peace and serenity. You're finally getting some time to just have a moment of peace, have a moment of serenity, maybe even just a silver lining coming in, some sun drop or raindrop of hope coming your way. Maybe things have been very tough right now. Maybe you're at a place where it's just like, wow, it's one thing after the other. And honestly, I feel like a lot of people are going through that right now. But this Star card says, hey, there's hope on the other side. There's beautiful things happening for you, that there's more good news. I know we're talking about good news, but there are good days coming your way. Those good days are going to give you peace. Those good days are going to give you connection. These good days are all about, hey, I'm sacrificing something in order to have something pay off in the long run. And if we're talking in a very literal sense, sometimes I can get the Star card to represent like real estate investments. I know, so random, but you know, I gotta throw it out there for maybe the 10% this applies to, because opposite of the 11th house is the 5th house, which has to do with the stock market. Opposite of stocks is kind of like maybe sort of real estate, angel investing, like things that are a little bit more involved and hands-on in terms of creating and generating big wealth. But that makes sense because the 11th house has to do with the house of like big gains and income, right? So, and I know the real estate market is I think it is the fastest avenue that people become millionaires in this country. So keep that in mind. There may be some good money news. May not just be about real estate, could just be about just income in general, income from work, because the 11th house is like the money you make from the job that you do. And so there's possibly some good news coming your way when it comes to that. And when we have that Star card following this Two of Pentacles, this time of peace, this time of serenity, this time of where we have some hope and sunshine coming in, this can represent also having some fun. I mean, the Two of Pentacles is all about juggling things, going with the flow, being flexible, and being open to just whatever circumstances are being thrown your way. It's all about going with the flow. If you need to put on a hat and do this type of role, then you're going to do that. The Two of Pentacles is the person who wears many hats. And not only that, but I do get these cards to represent travel, the distance between two different objects. The Star card is often distant and far away. So if some of you have been planning some sort of vacation, that's going to actualize. And even if you weren't planning a vacation, it's coming your way. A break, time off, time to put your feet up, time to relax. That's coming for a few of you. But this card in particular is just a moment of peace, a moment of surrender, a moment where you can just be at ease for once, because you have been working hard or you've been dealing with some strenuating circumstances. The Star card connects to Aquarius, the water bearer, the person who carries the emotions of everyone else, the person who makes sacrifices on account of everyone else, the person who is at the front of the lines when it comes to the regiment or the army. They're like, I'm going to make the sacrifice to ensure that other people around me are safe. So it lets me know that you have been making those sacrifices, and then they're going to pay off. Two of Pentacles is a very interesting card when it comes to the good news coming your way, because generally that can represent good news when it comes to sort of like documentation, or when it comes to filling out forms, or when it comes to anything having to do with having more flexibility in your schedule. It's a very interesting card in the sense that it's always on the go. It's always willing to try new things. It's always out there and very explorative, like twos can be. Twos are like, I don't really have a strong plan. Like, I'm trying to plan things, but really the main thing I'm looking for is trying to keep up with what's being thrown my way. This is like opportunities for growth, juggling multiple priorities, as we've mentioned before. Work-life balance. If you have not had work-life balance, that's something that can be happening for you. Personal life balance, home life balance, I don't know. But balancing things are something that is more than likely that's going to be happening for you. Two of Pentacles can often represent financial management, especially when these two cards come together. It's like, let me actually take a critical look when it comes to finances. It's actually interesting because I was just thinking to myself the other day, like, what are the difference between like something like the Knight of Swords and the Knight of Pentacles when it comes to financial management? And I feel like, I know, such a random thought to have, but I like to throw these scenarios in my head just to help me understand the cards better. I love sitting and meditating on them. But anyway, so it's like the Knight of Pentacles would probably take all the data that they've gathered for certain months, and then they would enact a strict plan, like this budget is going to be for spending on any healthcare things that come up, and this part of the budget is going to be for transportation, and this part of the budget is going to be for I don't know, fun and entertainment, and then this part of the budget is going to be for any sort of conservation of funds, like basically a contingency fund in case some unexpected expense comes in. The Knight of Pentacles is going to take a very detailed look at things, versus the Knight of Swords. They're probably going to have a general idea. They're going to say, hey, my budget is like $2,000 a week or something, or every 2 weeks, or I don't know, whatever your budget is. But they're going to say, this is my budget, and I'm just going to spend whatever, as long as I stay within my budget, that'll work, and then I'll keep refining it and as we go, right? The Knight of Swords is very as we go, I'll keep refining, versus the Knight of Pentacles is like, nope, we're going to set this plan in place, and if that plan doesn't work, then we're going to make small, teeny adjustments to the plan. So when it comes to things in terms of good news coming your way, this can definitely represent having more balance when it comes to your finances, being a little bit more strategic in that area. That is why the Pentacles are the best card for those finances, versus some other cards which can be a little bit more flexible, or they're going by their moods or how I feel, and are just going with the flow. Like the Swords can sort of be like at times. So just more resourcefulness in terms of that area. And then we also have that Three of Cups going on here, which we already mentioned before. We got these 2 cards here on the deck. 2 of the cards representing fun. 2 of the cards representing excitement. 2 of the cards representing just enjoying life. There is more enjoyment. There's more happiness coming your way. There's more fulfillment. There's more time with friends or family. And sometimes if it's not friends or family and you're just like, nah, I'd rather just be a hermit, then this is just more time you spending with the things that you like to do, whatever the case may be. Whether that is you having some sort of craft or hobby, whether that is you wanting to sit back and watch some video essays, whether you want to scroll on Instagram, whether you want to go on some sort of shopping spree. I don't know, whatever you want to do for fun. This is all about that. This is celebration. This is happiness. This is strong friendships and support. This is developing deep bonds. This is emotional fulfillment, positive energy, good relationships, community, unity, and feeling a sense of belonging. That is what the Three of Cups is all about. Look at them. This person is drinking from their cup. This person's talking to this person. This person's popping bottles in the background. They got the music playing. These cats are really living it up on this deck here, on this card here. They're having a good time. And so we know that you're going to be having a good time, pal number 3. It is going to be fun. There's fun happening for you. I don't know if you're planning some events. I don't know if you're planning a vacation. I don't know if you're doing a little soiree. I don't know if you're doing a little family reunion get together, but there's fun coming your way. Possibly even some invitations, because the Knight of Pentacles is holding out something, right? And so there's more than likely this is going to be an invitation from maybe 1 or 2 or 3 people. I don't know how busy your social life is. If it's not busy right now, it's going to pick up and there's going to be exciting news for you, which we know is going to happen. We know that you are going to get some joy, fulfillment, and happiness. And I love to see it. Like, I love to see that happening your way, coming your way. I think that's the words I'm trying to say here. Because that doesn't always happen all the time, does it? We don't always get these exciting moments to enjoy our life. Sometimes things are just way too heavy and we just have to deal with them, right? So when we have Mercury and Mars come together, that's interesting because it's almost like you're getting the opportunity to talk about the things that stress you out, which can potentially make you feel a little bit better. When I see that Mars and Mercury come together on those days, you know, it's like a sense of, what's the word? It's a sense of reliefs that you get, like if you talk to a friend about a problem and you're spilling the tea or something like that, and you're just like, oh, finally I got that off my chest. And even sometimes people can do that for you, but we're talking about good news coming your way. And I don't think, you know, somebody spilling the tea about their drama is good news coming your way. I mean, maybe, I don't know. It depends on if it's beneficial tea for you and you're just like, oh, that happened to this person. That person was my enemy and you're glad that that happened to them because they might have deserved it, right? Then that might feel like good news or something coming your way. But generally, it's more independence that's going to be happening. Being able to make decisions for yourself. A sense of freedom is happening here. Especially when I see this Mars and Mercury come together. I remember, I think it was a Mars and Mercury sextile. I was at some job and, you know, that job, the boss was a bit of a micromanager. And on that day with the Mars and Mercury sextile, I had a little bit more freedom because she was not around. So it's more independence when it came to my decision making, more independence when it came to the things and the tasks that I decided and the initiatives that I wanted to enact for myself that day. If I wanted to take, you know, lunch a little bit early, or if I wanted to extend it for like 10 minutes, which I don't think I did because I'm a stickler, but, but, you know, I could have, but it was just basically more decision on the things that I wanted to do in the area of my career. And you have to know that Mercury is traditionally connected to career and ambitions and basically the things that you want to do within this life, which makes sense because Mercury rules the house of like Gemini, which is like your skills. And what are we developing skills for if not applying it to some area in life, right? And then it's also connected to Virgo, the house of work, right? See, these two things having to do with how you are showing up in the world, and what do you bring, and what do you have to offer, and what kind of service are you providing to others. And so there's things along the lines of that. It's really about like saying, hey, I have the freedom to do what I want. I am going to enact my ambitions. Mars and Mercury coming together feels ambitious, feels like I can get things done, but it's in a fun and less burdensome way. Less burdensome way, especially with all these cards here coming to let you know that the burdens are coming off, all right? It just feels that way. And you're probably going to get some news from friends, and they're probably going to have some good things going on in their life as well. And what I see here, I think there was another time where Mars and Mercury came together, and I think I bought tickets to like, I don't know, some event. It was some outside concert, event, fair, whatever the case may be. And so more things to have to do with like, oh, I'm using my free will to like actually purchase things, to actually do things that I find exciting, to actually venture out into the world and interact with other people and have conversations about things that I'm passionate about and put the things that I want to do into action. You have to remember that third house connection of Mercury. Third house is like your free will, like the things that you want to do, the things that you find exciting, the things that interest you, the things that intrigue your mind. And so it's like, okay, this area is being lit up, this area is being fired up. So now I get to do the things that are inkling my brain, that are tickling my mind, or whatever the words that I want to say for that. But really, it just feels like, oh, I'm doing this thing. I like doing this thing. I have more time to do this thing. That's really good. That's coming in here. And I think that came up a little bit for other pals, but this one definitely can have to do, especially if you've had some restrictions at work, particularly, for sure. This is like, I'm being unbound, and I can have a little bit more time to relax and be sociable at work. Like if you have had like managers where they're just like, oh my God, are you laughing at work? It looks like you're not doing your work. Blah, blah, blah. Like that kind of like goes away when we have this energy here. And it's like, oh, finally, me and my coworker can talk about some movie for like 5 minutes or something without having someone telling us to get back to work. Like it's just a little bit more of a sense of relief coming here when we have those cards coming together. And honestly, if you are looking to learn anything different or anything new, this is also being reinforced by this Mars and Mercury card. But that is what I have for you, pal number 3. Hopefully this resonates. If not, you know, feel free to choose a new pal or a new reader. Either way, I'm super happy you stopped by. If you want to ask me a question, join the live sessions. I am so happy to answer those questions. I will also be polling you astronauts. Don't know if the polls are up right now, so if they're not there, don't worry, they will be back. And anything else I want to say? Any announcements? Let me think. No, I do not have any more announcements. So just thank you for stopping by, and I will see you next time. Au revoir. Hey, pal number 4. Let's get into the good news headed your way. We have the 6 of Wands, the Wheel of Fortune, the Lovers, the 7 of Pentacles, and Jupiter and Uranus. So good news headed your way is you're going to be celebrated. You're going to reach some pinnacle point. You're going to reach some point of accomplishment. When we get this wand type of energy, we know wands connect to our own personal goals and ambitions. It's all about who we are as a person, what defines us, our sense of creativity, our sense of uniqueness, our passion, the pursuit of your goals in general, basically. So we know that this accomplishment, this feeling of celebration and praise is being related to that. So whatever goal it is that you have set out to do, and I'm assuming it's some type of big goal or some meaningful goal or something that has some impact. Otherwise, why are we celebrating this, right? That is going to happen. that is going to take place. That is the area in which things are being fulfilled. And the thing that I love about Jupiter, like Jupiter, if you look at its core, it kind of relates to children, relates to finances, relates to like if you had a husband or something along the lines of that. Jupiter also relates to wisdom and things along the lines of that. So this could be a financial win. This could be a win in terms of connection, relationship. This could be a win in terms of like, let's say you were trying to have kids and then you get pregnant, or you have a kid, or you impregnate someone, whatever the case may be, you adopt, I don't know. These are the things that it can closely relate to, but obviously there's different areas for everyone, and the interpretation is going to depend on the individual, and this is a very generalized reading. So when we have this thing moving forward, we have this energy circulating, we know that this is about some big personal goal that means something to you being accomplished, okay? And then I already mentioned some examples with like the rise in finances and the changing of the tides. It feels like your luck is shifting when we get into the Wheel of Fortune. There are changes being taken place. And the fact that we got the Lovers here, we obviously have to talk about the romance, which you can look at the other piles, and I'm not talking about the romance so much, but this pile in particular, you're getting lucky in love. You are getting maybe a person that you have maybe desired within your heart, but you can never meet someone who, you know, met those qualities, and finally you're getting the opportunity to make that connection. It feels like it's coming together. It feels like your souls are aligning. It feels like you've met someone who could be a good match for you. So it seems like you're changing, your fortune and your tides are changing, and there's good news coming in the area of love. And if you are already in a relationship, perhaps this is just good news when it comes to you and your partner. For certain, when we have this Wheel of Fortune here, it does talk about changing and things evolving and going to a next stage. So perhaps you go to a different stage within your relationship, however you decide to define that, whether that's moving in together, whether that's having children, whether that is getting married, or some other form of commitment that is meaningful and impactful for you and your relationship. We know that this is about going to that next stage. And like I said, if you're single, this represents meeting someone, or even if you aren't like looking for a relationship, like let's say your dating life is just dry, like so you just are looking for someone to, you know, flirt with, or people to date or go out with. This would represent a change is coming in that direction, that you're finally starting to meet people, things are starting to pick up, your love life is no longer just dead and wasteful, or just non-existent or something, I should say. It's actually starting to come alive. There's actually movement here, because the Wheel of Fortune is all about movement, especially when we have this Six of Wands. There are so many good things to celebrate, so many personal accomplishments that are coming through for you, pile number 4. I really feel like this is like lots of compliments. I usually get the Six of Wands to represent like having lots of compliments, generally getting what you want. Could be on a big level, small level, though I'm thinking in terms of good news here. We're probably thinking about the big stuff, right? Especially since it's next to Jupiter here, and Jupiter's got some heavy energy. It represents public recognition. It represents success. So this is not just you giving yourself a pat on the back. Like this is like other people coming through to give you a pat on yourself. Interesting thing that is coming through is the fact that we have Jupiter connecting to the Wheel of Fortune. And yes, the Wheel of Fortune about change, momentum, transformation, a shift is happening. We have the ebbs and flows of life, up and down, and things along the lines of that, unpredictable nature of life, dealing with circumstances, a flow of luck, good fortune, bad fortune, whatever the case may be. It just represents that cycle of change and adaptability. But on the other hand, it also sort of connects to things like authenticity and revealing of the true self. If you see my post when I talk about Punarvasu and how it is about this expansion and freedom, and you often see these Jupiter Tarian characters and movie shows and TV and even in real life, feeling like this sense of unboundness nature. I'm not bound and confined by the rules of society, you know, things along the lines of that. Or, you know, your morality isn't my morality, and the way you conduct life isn't the way I conduct life. And I remember even I heard this Jupiterian person say, you know, I am a god, I'm the master of my own universe. Like, that's very Jupiterian type of thought. Even I think Kanye West, another Jupiterian placement, said the same thing. Like, I am a god, so I am a creator of my own life. That is a very Jupiterian type of philosophy. So there obviously is some sort of boost in confidence here when it comes to feeling like you are taking control of your life and taking control of your destiny. It feels like you are the one who is driving the wheel and driving the forces. And maybe you felt a little bit unempowered, whatever the word is. You maybe felt very disadvantaged, unempowered lately. And now that's shifting, now that's changing. You are stepping into your own. You feel like you are manifesting, and your manifestations are paying off, and they're coming true, and they're building you lots and lots of success and wealth, and things are coming into fruition. We have the Seven of Pentacles here. So honestly, the connections that you are making, the choices that you're making, because we have to remember that the Lovers connects to choices as well. And we just talked about how you are the controller of your own universe here. It's just saying that you're making choices that benefit you in the long run. You're playing the long game now, and that is some good news. And the Seven of Pentacles also represents that, hey, like, your hard work has paid off. Like, there's that moment of that. It's like there's that moment of like, I have given to people, they've given the things in return. I've built relationships, I've built skill sets, I have been smart with my money, I've invested, I've been smart with my time, because Pentacles also relate to time, right? I've been smart with my time, I've been smart with my efforts, I have been putting in the work, I have been doing what I need to do to succeed, and now it's paying off. And now I'm just trying to figure out where to go next, but it has shown that it's paying off. It's changing, it's transforming. It's very much like a moment to just pause and celebrate here. A moment to just feel like the world is your oyster, and whatever direction you feel free that you want to take your life in is available to you and has a strong potential for success, because you or somebody who is wise and who has made good choices to bring about success. So just know that your hard work has paid off. Just know that this good news is coming for you in terms of saying, like, I invested in something, I took a chance in something, I took a risk, and finally it's paid off. Finally, I'm not on the struggle bus. Finally, I have gotten to a place where things seem to be just a little bit more steady, a little bit more calm, and more freeing for me. We also have this placement of Jupiter with Uranus here. And I remember Jupiter was with Uranus like all through 2023, I think a little bit of 2024 as well. And when those two planets come together, they represent a little bit of unpredictability within those areas. And that's kind of relating back to that Wheel of Fortune. We know Jupiter deals with unpredictability. You know, it's written in the cards. And not only that, but Uranus is also dealing with that messaging as well. So you can even look back at 2020. You can look back at 24 and see what unpredictable, positive, good news circumstances came about for you, 2023 as well. And based on those circumstances, more than likely you're going to still get some good news in those same areas for you. And that can be anything. I know I've had lots of unexpected events when that was going on, from having like more free time, from being able to concentrate on things that I like doing, from just like exploring the world. You know, I was way too much in my shut-in era, and then I explored, and it was random. It was totally random. There was always these things popping up for me to do. Very much that unpredictability factor when Jupiter and Uranus comes together. Jupiter is expanding that unpredictability, and it also carries those traits within itself, and Uranus itself is also unpredictable. So when they come together, together and they're expanding that, it's like you got to expect the unexpected. And that good news is more than likely coming in the form of good fortune. When those two things come together, it definitely represents this sudden money, unexpected money, or sudden unexpected benefits when it comes to money. And I only say that for this pile because we're talking about the pentacles here. And also, like I just said, Jupiter relates to finances. So when you have this planet of Uranus of unpredictability, and we're talking about good news, and we're talking about finances, and they're looking at each other, it's like you got some good news coming in terms of some money coming in, some investments coming in, some help coming in, you getting a new job, you I don't know, starting a business and bringing about some more money in, whatever the case may be. But it definitely represents having some opportunities for long-term growth and stability, but it's very unexpected. So there's some good news coming in when it comes to that. And I will say that when I see those planets together, it's usually a larger pot of money than you would typically be expecting, especially since we have Jupiter twice in the reading, and Jupiter is the biggest planet. Weight is heavy. So it's carrying that gold, it's carrying that might, it's carrying that, all of that energy there when it comes to abundance. This can also represent like sudden learning, sudden knowledge, sudden understanding of things, okay? Especially when we talk about the lovers here. When we talk about the lovers, it connects to Gemini, which is the first house having to deal with intellect, the mind. Let me think for myself. That is Gemini, I think. So when we have Jupiter and Uranus coming together and we have another Jupiter placement here, we know that's like an expansion of your mind. You are learning things, and that is good news because these things that you are learning are going to be a benefit towards you, okay? It's kind of like if you just learned about the stock market for the first time, right? You learn about it, you learn about investments, and now you have this opportunity to grow your money and to beat inflation, right? So you gain about all this knowledge when it comes to that. And I'm just using money for example, but you can learn about it in different ways. It could be some sort of relationship advice. It could be a personal thing in terms of that. For instance, I don't see too many cups here. Normally when we start talking about like emotional growth, I usually get a lot of cups involved. But Jupiter is a planet of wisdom, and I have seen them connected to therapy as well. And they're kind of like the gurus of all gurus. So the gurus come to them, the therapists go to those as therapists, like they're the ultimate masters of those things because they are the controller of wisdom. So when we have this coming in, it's like a raise in your wisdom, the way you conduct yourself, the conversations you're having, the way that you are thinking about things when it comes to your interactions of people. There's certain things that I was looking up this the other day. There's certain people who are like overshares, and there's certain people who are undershares. Generally, undershares may come from the fact that, their parents may not have shown an interest in them as a child, or they may have had a lot of negative experiences that has caused them to sort of like recoil within themselves and not to undershare. But then we have oversharers here, and oversharers, we know that could just possibly be wanting to, gain that attention, gain that love. Like you tell a funny story and all the eyes are on you and you get that sense of attention, which we all need as human beings. And so oversharers may tend to do that. They're always looking for ways to connect, right? And that's just how they decide to do that. But while I mention this, the only reason I mention this is because when we think about communication, which not everybody thinks about communication, there may be some ways in which we can best edit ourselves in order to have more efficient communication. For example, when we start to have conversations with people, it might be best to preface things like, okay, is this information something that this person needs to know? Is this information appropriate? How would this person respond to this information? Why do I want to share this information with this individual? And I mention this because Jupiter has this high philosophy when it comes to how you're communicating with each other. And so when we have these cards coming together representing good news, it's just saying, hey, you're more than likely start to take a more strategic approach when it comes to your communication. You're going to start to be able to understand what's a safe space and what's not a safe space, and what's appropriate to say to someone and what's not appropriate to say to someone. And just expect like being able to understand the patterns in which somebody may react, or how they might receive some sort of news. So if you have these sort of contentious conversations with someone, you're just like, I just can't figure them out. This is like a light bulb moment to just say, oh wait, I'm not communicating with them in a way that they appreciate, and things along the lines of that. Or I can say, you know what, I don't think this person actually likes me, and all I'm doing is hurting my own feelings by continuing these conversations with this individual. So it's like I've gotten a raise when it comes to my thought process, and it comes to the way that I communicate with with others. This can also just represent good news in terms of general learning, education, actually receiving some student loans, because I know right now in America, the Department of Education is going through some sort of, iffy moments given the administration. So this is like saying, you won't be affected by that, and you'll still be able to get those loans, you'll still be get those scholarships, you'll still be able to get that support. So keep that in mind. And that is what I have for you, pile number 4. I have never talked so fast in my life. Sometimes I'm just like channeling, I'm just channeling, right? But other times it's just like, oh man, but that's so strange. Anyway, if you didn't resonate with the pile, feel free to choose another one, or maybe I'm not the reader for you. Either way, I'm very happy you stopped by. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to check out the polls on the community tab, as well as I go live. So if you want to join the live sessions, ask me questions, feel free to do so. And I will see you next time. Au revoir. Hey, pile number 5. Let's get into the good news that's coming your way. We have the Page of Swords. We have the 9 of Pentacles reversed. We have the Hierophant, we have the King of Coins, and we have Mercury and Pluto coming together. So, very interesting set of cards when we have this Page of Swords and, this 9 of Pentacles reverse. Because the Page of Swords is always about those communication. It's always about trying to learn things, but usually not things that are overly complicated, not too deep. So to me, when I get this as good news, to me it's like having good conversations with people, which may not seem that great, but if you have been looking to make some new connections, looking to have a different perspective, to just have a couple of laughs. Like the Page of Swords can be like friends sending you like funny TikTok videos. And sometimes all you really need is a laugh, okay? Like you just need to have a good time and let your hair down and enjoy yourself, okay? So I really do see there's little small moments coming here and there when it comes to the good news headed your way. But when it comes to the big stuff here, we're talking about you're making big strides towards achieving more independence. You're making big strides when it comes to getting steps closer towards your goals. You are looking at things from a fresh new perspective. Perhaps you're looking at areas that you can tackle that are holding you back in achieving those goals. And it's like you're having moments that one by one, you're starting to, chisel through that rock to create this beautiful sculpture. And it's almost like before, you weren't quite sure of the direction to go in or what the right technique was to get things to look how you wanted it to look. But now you're starting to gain more insight, you're starting to gain more wisdom, and you're finally able to make big strides in going towards your goals. So when I get the 9 of Pentacles reversed, to me it's not like, oh, I've hit my ultimate goal, I'm financially free, I'm independent, da-da-da-da. It's more like I'm making milestones toward that. Whether that's like, ooh, I paid off some credit card debt. Or, oh, I just got a bonus and now I can, pay off this or invest in that, right? It's like you're getting closer to those goals. And that is some incredible news here. It really shows that you're also probably in a place, because this is 9 of Pentacles reverse, where it's like I'm mostly independent, I'm mostly there, but I just a few strides away from actually being this super power individual who stands on their own, does their own thing, has their own independent thoughts, who knows themselves, who knows their values, who lives by them. I'm just a few strides away from getting there, right? It's kind of like if you had to, occasionally borrow money from friends to pay certain bills. Now it's like I do that less and less. I rarely come for them unless it's an emergency. But it's like you still have to come to them for that emergency, right? But it's less. It's because you have more strength, you have more independence, you're doing your thing, and you're looking at things from a fresh perspective that is propelling you forward. And that's good news that's coming your way. You're one step closer, one major step closer to achieving this financial freedom, to achieving some career pinnacle moment, to achieving some dream job, to achieving some dream pay, to achieving some dream lifestyle. It's like you're getting closer. And not only that, but this can represent you being a little bit more dependent on others, but in a good way. Like maybe you borrow, $100, but then, after a week, you can actually pay them back instead of like waiting months and months and months on end, right? It's like, yeah, I still have a little bit of dependence and I have people who can help me, and that's good news in a way, but I'm also able to return the favor and pay them back in turn. And so then you will have others depend on you, right? So this Nine of Pentacles reverse can be that. It's like, hey, I sometimes can be the person that people come to if they need help as well. I may not be fully on my feet, but I have a little something to offer. And that doesn't have to be just financially. That can be when it comes in terms of your advice. With the Nine of Pentacles reversed, it's like I'm gaining some more life experience. I'm starting to understand my own unique perspective. I may still be, under a little bit of an influence of other people, but I'm getting closer to finally having this full understanding of who I am and what makes me unique. And thus, I can start to give advice from my own original thoughts and perspectives rather than just like repeating something I may have heard someone say to make someone feel better. You're coming at it from a very authentic place. You know what I mean? It's kind of like if a friend breaks up with someone and they're sad and they're crying, you're just like, don't worry, you'll find someone else new. Now that's a more so regurgitated thing to say because that's very common, that's acceptable within our society, versus if you're very Nine of Pentacles or you're even a little bit Nine of Pentacles reversed, you might say, yeah, you'll find someone new, but you want to add your own twist, your own original thought, and say something along the lines of, but I really think, you should take the time to do what's best for you, to grieve, to find your own place if that's what you need. Or if you want, you could jump right back into another relationship. There are no rules here. And that might be your thought process, right? So it's like you're giving your own original thoughts more instead of just trying to say the thing that may be a little bit people-pleasing in a little bit, in a little bit of a way, or just since you don't know what to say, you might say something a little bit generic. Everyone does it. It's not a judgment if you do this. So when we have the Hierophant here, I really feel like there's a lot of focus when it comes on to community organization. Like I said, I've gotten the Hierophant to represent like companies and organizations. And so if we're talking about good news, then this may be good news in terms of like a job or a company coming your way. Possibly saying something about like, oh yeah, we're going to hire someone else so you don't have to do all this work. Because quite often employees will give one employee the work of 2 or 3 or etc. Right? It's just a lot of work that they have to carry on their shoulders. And so when that happens, what we do here is so I don't know what I'm talking about. When that happens, what we do here is we look for ourselves, we look for ways to escape. And when we have this Nine of Pentacles here reversed, it's almost like you don't have to look for those ways to escape anymore. You already see the avenue out. You're just in the stages in which you are trying to figure out the best way to get there, right? You know what you want to a degree, and you're slowly building towards it. There's good news when it comes to receiving more pleasantries within your work environment. It's actually interesting because there's a lot of focus on this reading when it comes to having like positive conversations, when it comes to people using their voice in a more empathetic manner, when it comes to expressing how you feel, when it comes to expressing deeper thoughts. Like, the focus on this reading is very communication oriented in terms of like, you know, good news coming your way. So it might be literally good news when it comes to your financial situation, or literally good news when it comes to conversations about you're having about your job, your future at that job, and what the next steps are. There's possibly good news when it comes to your family and your family or environment, particularly maybe a male figure coming in here. And I normally don't say things like that, but I mean, the good news is literally like you're going to receive good news. It's actually interesting. So there's good news in this area. The Hierophant also connects to education. It also connects to things that you possibly eat. So if you have been looking for good news from a dietitian, good news from a maybe doctor, maybe that's a light maybe for that. Like that would be like you're having some good news about your health here. Hierophant connects to mainly Taurus, the second house. So that's just funny. That's funny. That's money. I can't combine family and money. That's money, family. That has to do with your voice. It has to do with your face as well. And then it has to also do with your eyesight. It has to do with using your voice, like your self-esteem, your self-worth, and things along the lines of that. And it's actually interesting here because to me it feels like you're reevaluating what you're basing your self-worth on, and that ultimately will make you look at things from a different perspective and have a different understanding of yourself. And so there's a restructuring of your values coming here that generally will make you be more evolved and emotionally, more emotional maturity. It's actually, this pile is probably the most inner work pile that I've seen. Like the other piles were a little bit more focused on the external, but there was some internal things. But this is very focused on the internal world. This is very much focused on my self-esteem, my self-worth. You know, it's focused on how I talk to people, how I communicate, how do I advocate for myself? Where's the direction that I want to go in? How do I feel about myself? How do I feel about the things I accomplish? How do I ensure that I am providing value to other people around me, as well as providing value to myself? How do I make sure that I am regulating my emotions, that I don't get too caught up in the things that are disastrous and do things that are toxic and not good for me? It's very much taking an analytical look at any sort of bad habits that could be holding you back from being the person that you desire to be. So there's good news, and that is that you are actually moving closer towards that person that you're desiring to be. That person that you feel you align with most inside. You are becoming that person. You're becoming someone who is respectable. You're becoming someone who is looked up to in, like you're just being perceived in a wise manner. You're starting to, like I said, be more vulnerable. And I think that vulnerability is causing more people to gravitate towards you. Maybe that's why I was getting so many like people cards here, and I was wondering why are we having so many conversations and why that's so important. It's important because these conversations are meaningful. These conversations are actually going somewhere. You're actually building connections. And you know, that's what life is all about. Let's build those deep connections. Let's go further than we have gone before. Let our souls join and I don't know, and things along the lines of that. And sometimes this can feel like a sense of just quieting out all the noise. Like when we have this Mercury-Pluto thing, in a way it kind of gives you like this brain fog. And so you phase out all of the things, all of these anxious thoughts that don't matter, and you're actually able to have a conversation and you stay within the present. So there's something about having good news in terms of making deep connections with others, finding a sense of community, maybe even having some important conversations at work that have to do with, you know, your long-term longevity at the company, and that might be some good news. This can also have to do with maybe even compliments to your appearance. I remember one day I had like a Mercury Pluto energy going on in the sky for me. And some stranger just like complimented me on like how I looked and things along the lines of that, which was very interesting because it was just like a random day. Like I'm not saying I don't get compliments. I do, but like it was just unexpected. It was unexpected because I don't think I was too dolled up that day. And so something to do with, you know, appreciating your beauty, more appreciation for the things that you have to say and the words that are coming out of your mouth and the sounds that you are making with that voice. Your words are having more impact with the people around you. I feel like there's a sense of being taken more seriously. And generally, the good news is like a rise in respect. Okay? It's just like, and not only that, but like I said, this has to do with like, we always say this, finding your tribe, but I really do feel like this is getting closer to finding the people that you most connect with. And similarly, on days where Mercury conjuncts Pluto, are days where, as a person who works in social media, I don't know, hobbies in social media, whatever you want to call this, those are days where I may have less followers. So it's almost like you filter out people who are not aligned with you. Okay, and I'm just using myself for example because it's just the easiest for me to recall. Okay, I'm not like the self-centered narcissist. Okay, so yeah, so it's just like I'm filtering out people who just aren't great for me, and I can breathe for once. The King of Cups is very much a self-assured, confident, open, strong person. You know how hard it is to just open up about your feelings and be vulnerable? How much rejection and hurt you open yourself up to, but you do that and you're going to do that. And people are actually going to respect you for it. And those who don't are going to fall to the wayside. Honestly, it's like you're filtering out the weeds in your garden. Yes, got it. That's what it was getting me. That's what was scratching my brain. I'm just like, what is the words for this? Nine of Pentacles reversed, you're getting rid of the weeds. That's gone. Anything out of your life, whether that's people, whether that's a job, whether that is friends, whether that is girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife, whatever the case may be, habits, you know, Pluto and Mercury can be bad habits, you know, that's a thing. And so anything in your daily life that is feeling like I said, that is not who you ultimately want to be when you envision yourself. You're like, I don't want to be that person. I want to be this person I envision myself to be. I don't want to be the current me that I am now. I want to transform. You're transforming into that person, and it's affecting different areas of your life for the better. More stability, more mental stability here coming, more peace. So that's what I have for you, pile number 5. So much internal growth going on for you. So much, you know. But if this doesn't resonate, feel free to choose a new pal or, you know, choose a new reader. Either way, I'm very happy you stopped by. Don't forget to check out the post. Don't forget that I go live. So if you want to join the live session and ask me a question, then just go ahead and do that. I'm here and I'm waiting and I want to see what you have to say. Use your voice. Use your big, powerful voice to communicate with me. All right? And I will see you next time. Au revoir.